It's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Mariah Afolabi Brown as always. I have the lovely co-host. Hi, ladies.
Good morning.
Hey, Mariam. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll go through the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're going to start very quickly with the Punch. Run-ups, APC, PDP woo voters with money, gifts, lobby other parties. Really embarrassing. Teenager loses sight in Oyo after SARS torture. Out-of-school children's parents may face trial, says federal government. Rerun, we don't take orders from anybody, INEC tells APC. PDP Atiku assemble 400 witnesses against Buhari. Chai. And 20 sons, I'm at add.
20 sons.
Ogun APC wants banks against granting Amosun loans overdrafts. Shehu Yaradua Foundation orders to lose 4.8 billion naira properties, and CCT opens on against trial, calls first witness. This teenager that lost his eyesight was a hotel attendant.
Yes, he's, Samuel Ogundeji is his name. He's an 18-year-old boy who used to work in a hotel near Niago Club and Resort in Oyo State. In 2017, he was accused of a customer said he forgot his wallet in the room and couldn't find it. So the two boys, he and one other person, were taken away by SARS to an uncompleted building and beaten until he lost his sight. And finally, the customer found out that he didn't actually bring that wallet to the hotel. But this boy has been, and his mother have been going from hospital to hospital trying to work on his eyesight.
Thank you very much. I think that's the point. But how do we get him to get justice? Because obviously this has happened before.
Yes.
Remember the lady who forgot her wallet at the airport?
A bag.
A bag at the airport. I thought that she left it and then found out that actually she never did.
The manager is claiming that he had eye problems before he even joined them, and he's already given them 100,000 naira. But the boy has lost his eyesight. As
Another angle to this story is the jungle justice. Because we prey on the weak of our society. That boy is a weak person, and so we assume that if you are poor, you must be stealing. So you must have stolen this thing and you're dealt with. To find out later that if there was nothing involved, how many people have lost their lives that they had no hand in the crime?
Anxiety in Benue, Kano, Bauchi ahead of elections. Picture here of a soldier, Captain Salami of 6th Division, Nigerian Army, on his hospital bed. Soldiers recall nights of horror in Rivers. Let's see, we'll do justice in Sugar's murder case, says Oyo CP. NBA president's trial, defense seeks evidence. CBN eyes $10 billion revenue from palm oil. PDP Atiku file petition day to deadline. Right, so CBN is obviously eyeing this 10 billion opportunity that might have in the palm oil industry. According to them, they're trying to surpass Thailand and Colombia in the highest producers of palm oil.
Thank you, because the Thailand and Malaysia came to take palm oil seedlings from Nigeria. And we've been repeating that thing since. Because when you're going to Benin, there is a large, I've forgotten the name of the, is a plantation. It was separated under, I think since Awolowo's time. Old Benden, an entire area of land set aside purely to improve palm oil plantation and all of that. We could indeed have surpassed. So when you now put in policies on ground, I don't want the word. Let's see the action. Yes, don't give me...
Call them some slack. The CBN were deliberating, the farmers, whatever interventions that they did, and we have it in the rice.
Power.
We have the revolution in the rice revolution. Whether we like to admit it or not, internationally, there's now something called Buhari rice in Saudi Arabia when you go to restaurants abroad. So we must acknowledge certain growth. Deliberate intention to grow these sectors would actually yield those results.
Right now, a ton of palm oil is going for $600. That's a lot of forex for us. So if we can actually develop this industry, we can definitely surpass what we're doing with oil.
The picture, though.
The soldiers invade, according to the soldiers, they recall the nights of horror in Rivers. You have that story, Tokwe?
So, at the collation center during the election on, in Rivers State, there was an attack between military officials and police officials. Now, these police officials are said to be attached to, were working on the orders of the governor, Wike, and the military officials also, the police were saying that these people were not meant to be at the collation center. In ensuing violence, two military officials were injured. One was macheted, the second one was shot. They are both in the hospital. And yet, I'm still expecting, the military is denying that they were not involved in trying to manipulate the elections, that they were just there to...
So we're getting different stories, because initially we thought that the military went to take over ballot boxes.
So
now we're hearing from the soldiers that it was actually thugs, according to this soldier, thugs accompanied by the state government.
But the police is also saying that every, and I asked around, that every other collation center where they collate, are there military officials guarding the door? No.
Let's move on now to Vanguard. Sack Buhari, declare me winner, article tells Tribunal.
Yes.
Lines up, not 1, not 2, not 10, not 15, 20 SANs and 400 witnesses to fight the case. Our petition is solid, strong, and unassailable. Well. Senate seat, Akpabio drags Ekpeyong to Tribunal. Federal government cuts oil output by 400,000 barrels per day. Traders protest federal government's move to sell Lagos Trade Fair Complex. That was the scare that Little was just shut down yesterday. Confusion over reports of fresh building collapse in Lagos. Tension as APC PDP trade tackles ahead of rerun polls in 5 states. And my assets declaration forms tampered with, says Onoge. Okay, Nima, I'm going to give you Vanguard because I know you are Vanguard for a while.
Onoge. So yesterday at the tribunal, he questioned. He was there and his lawyers raised objections to how the asset declaration form was scattered. It wasn't in the way, the form he was.
Yeah.
He presented in 2014 and 2015 and it looked loose and mutilated. And I'm wondering if it's is a subject of investigation, would it still be... That's just me.
That's just missing.
So, but something worried me yesterday. The prosecution's witness, what's his name again? Akpala, Mr. James Akpala, was the investigating officer for the CCB. He was saying that, you know, the former CGN or the suspended CGN was charged while he was still investigating him at the tribunal. Those kind of things, you know, worry, because the sort of the way it was breaking in the papers, the speed and everything, you would think they had a tight, close case.
No, I'm happy Nima is saying this because I was raising, and I'm happy I'm impressed because Nima, we all said here that they had no, the way it was being carried out, the way the trial and the persecution of CGN was carried out, the former CGN or the suspended CGN was carried out, it looked political. And that it was not done in good faith. And Nima was saying that, oh, they had a case against him. Apparently now, she's also reporting, according to the papers, where the statement was given that the investigations was not...
What was revealed, because what was revealed to us was available in public at the time, was a very neat case that you would not allow anybody, just because of status, to get away with. Okay. So now that at trial, we are finding out that, you know, investigations were ongoing and the charges were already being filed, you know, it will worry.
Today is day 1. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
the paper is full.
Let's talk about traders
at trade fair are worried. My people, they are worried that, you know, that the federal government is trying to concession the trade fair, and they have 2 outstanding leases, one for 50 years, one for 99 years, and they are saying that, and we pay our dues. So they had a little protest yesterday that, you know, made the market, shut the market down for a few minutes yesterday, saying that the federal government... I would like, because I know they are serious businessmen, to get their team of lawyers together and see whether this list is disturbing any concession.
The business concern.
It's a business concern for me, because I was very worried. My family was like, trade fair, please don't touch trade fair.
So, but it also brings to the point another side of our stories, where we sign an agreement with one party, and a new agency comes in, a new boss comes in, and then they scatter what is going on.
The collapse building, we'll talk about it a bit later. But Benga Dana is saying that he didn't join the APC. I thought we said he joined the APC.
His Brussels.
He had a he has stepped away from partisan politics.
Yesterday, according to Vanguard, the brother Fani Kayode had his time. We went at him that, you know, the campaign that you led has not even gone to petition. They have not even gone through tribunal, and you're already decamping. And Benga Dana said, please, so I only answer press people that, you know, my followers say I should lead them. But I've not led them, and I'm not leading anybody. I've withdrawn from partisan politics and sitting and minding my business. Okay.
So on Wenga Daniel, we close front page review. Unfortunately,
one more.
One more story. What story?
In Ekiti State, they have decided that all those who are rapists and defilers will now, their pictures will now be put up on their Ministry of Justice website
Wow.
and on the state's radio and
sexual
television.
offenders
So,
records.
and then the local traditional leaders will be able to also identify them. So
They
you
are.
will see them, you will know them, and you stay away from
That's a
them.
good thing.
That's
It needs that
really
kind of
good.
thing. Lagos is pretty big for that. I mean,
have
not big.
no,
as
can
in-
do that.
Lagos, the population is large. That's what I mean. It's always
Well,
difficult
that's
to
still
always
outside.
monitor.
Lagos already have a sexual offenders record.
But it's
Very
like, how do you
satisfactory.
monitor? How do you get the obas
Yeah,
within
it's
each
very
vicinity to understand and
inaccessible.
identify these people rapists? Is that
If
possible in
the
Lagos?
Obas were concerned, but you know the kind of locality that the two of them are, of course, they differ. It will be useful for in that kind of place where Ekiti is. But
Let's go on the break. When we
not
come
be
back,
that,
we'll commemorate today's World Social Worker Day. So we'll talk to some social workers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Come and tell us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So today is World Social Worker Day. It's a day set aside to promote the importance of human relationships and community accountability. On the show with us, we have the chairperson, Nigeria Association of Social Worker Lagos Chapter, Adetun Ogidengbe. Welcome to the show, madam.
Good morning.
You can call us on 070-806-68014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. All right, World Social Worker Day. We're celebrating the work you do, service to humanity. How has it been in Nigeria? Have people been receptive to the work?
They don't understand what it is.
They don't even understand what social worker is in the first place, but generally, are people receptive and do they understand your work?
That's a very big question. Because as at yesterday, somebody told me, oh, do we have social workers in Nigeria?
That was my question too.
Yes, I traveled to the UK. I know we have social workers. I've gone to US, there are social workers. But in Nigeria, ooh, it's coming to me as a news. I'm quoting the person. And I told her that we've been on board for years. The irony of it, social worker is dated back as far back as 1957. When
Nigeria?
when UCH was formulated then in 57, it started with 3 departments: medical department, surgical department, and medical social service department. That's the irony of it. 1st February 1957 was the first time we talked about social work in Nigeria. An irony of it, some of the people just leave that aspect out when they talk about the history of medical, but you can Google it, you can go online, you'll see it there. 3 departments started UCH in 1957, medical, surgical, and medical social services.
Would you blame people? Maybe the impact of the department is not well felt, so you not know.
The impact of the department can't be felt because we are not being empowered the way we needed to be empowered. Thinking about it, Nigeria is not a social welfare state, quote and unquote. And because they don't want to be held accountable for the welfare of the citizens, they try to dodge away from it. As we speak now, we are still appealing to the 8th Assembly, National Assembly, to please pass this bill. We have a bill before them that needed to be passed to empower us to become a recognized profession in this part of the world. We have been on this bill for, I don't know now, 15, 16, how many years back, and we are still on it. Social work has been in existence. Even the association, NASO, Nigeria, was formulated 16th October 1975.
Okay, so the thing, where I was also surprised that we have social workers in Nigeria because, like Nima said, we haven't necessarily felt the impact of social work. But aside from that, social work requires a lot of compassion. And the truth is, Nigerians don't necessarily cut across as that. Everybody has burden and baggages. Everybody's facing their own. If you give me 1, I'll give you 5, is the way we come across. So what exactly has your association been doing since it's been formulated? What exactly, like, the real work you've been doing? Number 1. Number 2, how relatable are you people in terms of you are from a society that is not taking responsibility or caring for the other, for each other?
Okay, maybe I should give it to Lagos State government. From the days of Ashiwaju, we have had a huge support as social workers. Hard work in lasted about 6 years. That's then, and I know what it takes for us to spend as much as 2 million on a client. The patient was brought in, accident victim, they need to do plastic surgery, that surgery or the other, and the funds were released to us to work. When we have more of that, then people will feel our impact. You go to hospitals, we have indigent funds in our general hospitals. We have indigent funds.
Under social work.
Yes, department, medical social services, that's what they call them in hospitals. We have indigent funds in which we use in assisting the patient that can't meet their immediate needs.
Okay.
In Lagos State, patient picks on the road, accident victims, is being taken care of for the first 24 hours before we can locate the families. And it's also the work of the social workers to do the home tracing. We do the home tracing to look, yes.
Okay. So I actually know of the Indigent Fund. I didn't know it fell under the Department of Social Work. Because while I was in General Hospital, somebody accessed it to pay for the medical bill for our delivery.
So social work, is it only a part of the Health, Ministry of Health, or is it also part of the Ministry of Justice?
No.
Because I think that there's a social works department there and they do some sort of work with them.
We have it in everywhere.
Okay.
You go to Ministry of Youth and Social Development, we have social workers. I work for Ministry of Youth and Social Development. You go to local government and community affairs, the community officers, they are also social workers. The youth officers are social workers. We are in the hospitals, we are in the private sectors. The vice chairman of the Association for Lagos State Chapter works in an oil servicing company. He helps with the CSR and all that and interfaces with the community people. So as social workers, we are found in every facet of life.
So I know
all the cases of the child abuse you hear about is being carried out. The rescue has been carried out by social workers. Okay. When you have, we have a, like a platform in which you can report this case. We have Citizen Gates. 5860, you just send in a text message. Somebody is
5860.
Yes.
That's a short code.
Yes.
And anybody watching can send a message to 5860.
Yes, and somebody, the nearest social worker to where you reside, will look into the problem.
Okay.
We have school social workers as well, those in the schools. They work with the students.
Let me take this call. Thank you for calling. Morning, are you there?
Hello, good morning.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, my name is Wisdom.
Hi, Wisdom.
Hi, Morai. The issue of the social worker thing, I'm just hearing it for the first time in Lagos. Like, seriously. I hear it, I have friends that work as social worker in the U.S., but in Lagos, let me just say Nigeria as a whole, I've not come across social
workers.
Apparently.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
So, Nima, let me jump in.
Okay, so I wanted to ask a stupid question. Because, you know, it might be, you might say this question has been over-asked. Would social workers not be the ones culpable in the supervisory role of how kids are put in a building that might collapse, or kids are not, you know, in situations where it is not conducive to put any human being? It's not the duty of a social worker, you know, to supervise or regulate such things. And, you know, how come?
Isn't that too much burden on the social worker?
No, I'm just saying.
Go ahead.
Yes, she asked the question. But it might not be more of our responsibilities, because we have the education officers that looks into schools before approvals are given. Right. We have the environmental officers that looks into buildings. We have structural engineers.
Yeah, everywhere.
So, do you see for children to be?
I mean,
is the education officer's duty to look at that before approvals are given to school to operate? There should be education officer that visits and come back with a report and say, oh, they can go ahead. So regularly, there are education officers in all the districts that are supposed to go around and give a feedback.
Okay, so the reason why we're not feeling your impact, because obviously your social workers are everywhere in every sector of our lives. Now, if you have that law backing you, you can now have a proper institution where people are trained, you can be paid for this service as social worker. Right now, how is the remuneration? It's not that much, I'm sure.
It's not that much because we don't generate. Let me quote them. When you look at the salary scale, among even our colleagues, we are the least paid. They'll tell us, oh, your ministry don't generate, you only spend. So that's we spend lots of money. That I must give it to Lagos State government.
I know there's a work coming up very soon. You want us to, there's an event coming up soon?
Yes, sometimes in April 24th, 25th.
Okay.
Today is a work day. We're going to have a press conference here in Alausa, but come in sometimes in April 24th, 25th, 26th, we're going to have a whole lot of activities, celebrating it proper. We're going to have a walk, telling people about social work in Lagos State.
Tell us about it. We'll see what we can do to participate.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we heard another building almost collapse. Well, it was while they were demolishing it that it then collapsed. But how do we get here? We'll discuss it with our guest when we come back. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So it's been a week that a collapsed building in Faji, Lagos Island happened, allegedly killing about 20 people, including children. Report had it that another building yesterday, whilst they were demolishing, collapsed also at Lagos Island, Ukari. Now, how do we get to the point where buildings are marked for demolition, but for whatever reason, they're not attended to? Joining us on the show is an estate surveyor, Yomi Fawayimi. We call you Prof. Professor Yomi Fawayimi. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. Morning, everybody.
You can call us on 070-806-68014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. Yesterday, we spoke to some Lagos State officials, honorables, and one of the major points that was made yesterday was the fact that buildings are marked, but people refuse to leave the premises. And we're saying citizen responsibility. Yes, your building obviously is unfit for habitation, yet they still choose to stay there. How do we get to the point where people refuse to leave an unmarked building, and a marked building?
Well, how did we get to a point where the building was built?
Okay.
I mean, because we're reacting to events. I mean, something created all of this. There's a World Bank survey that is done for states in Nigeria, that has 6 states, including FCT. It's a ranking of ease of doing business. In Nigeria, we have 4 measures. One of them is ease of getting construction permits. Lagos State was 37th in the last ranking.
That's out of 37 states, so.
Lagos State has the longest process to get a building permit. According to that report, about 18 steps. Lagos State has the highest cost of getting building permits. According to that report, about 22% of the cost of a building.
Thank you.
Shouldn't that be, isn't that a good thing? That the longer it is, obviously, that means they're more meticulous.
No.
I'm just
I'm looking at it from Morel's point, in the sense that, you know,
it must
involve
thorough.
a process.
In the
So
olden days, the longer
supervision
the better.
and all
In
that.
today's world, where there's Lean Sigma, where there's fast processing, where there's simultaneous, all of you have phones. How often do you get them tell you to update your software?
Right.
Now, so the point is that we have a situation where Lagos State has created a very humongous, complicated process for people to get approval for their building. The building that collapsed based on lack of approval is a result of failure. The building should never have come up in the first place. Right. So somebody buys a piece of land in Lagos. Anybody who is a real estate person, I mean, that's where I trained at, knows that if you buy a house in Lagos, you got to run and start building, else somebody else buys it.
Exactly.
So, in fact, the seller tells you, start building.
Do foundation.
The funniest thing is that if you actually get land from Lagos State, the COO or the letter of allocation gives you a deadline to build within 2 years.
And
so, that's your scenario. Then you want to get approval for that building, and it's taking you excess of 180 days. And you're spending 25% of the cost of development securing
So you're likely
approval.
to use low quality.
So you have all those scenarios that make people build without getting approval. Is that right? It's not right. But the question is that we created the environment.
So
you see,
cut corners.
Many of the problems in Nigeria, we focus on the problem. The problem is not the problem.
thank you.
So you create an ecosystem. Once you create an ecosystem, you can predict the results.
Exactly.
In other parts of the world, a first-time developer is given a grant to build because you know he doesn't know what he should do. The fact that Lagos does not punish civil servants. The governor went to the site and said the building was marked 2 years ago. A marked building is the end of the process. It starts with an inspection. Then there is a ceiling.
Ceiling, yeah.
The ceiling is for talk. You go to tell them this is the situation, they can unseal afterwards. Then when you don't come, that's when the mark. Now, the marking includes a court process. It's a court order to demolish.
Right.
So Lagos State violated a court order.
By not
Lagos State
demolishing.
is accountable and has committed contempt of court.
Please,
By not
Ayomi, yesterday,
let's understand the scenario. The governor of Kauna comes and says, we marked this building, they prevented us. This same governor was prevented from demolishing Otodogbame.
And they went ahead and burnt the place.
We have had road construction all over Lagos. Houses were demolished. All the expansions, and people did not stop it. Where were they stopped? The last point I want to say related to that, there's what they call criminal negligence. 4 ingredients are present in this case. One, there's a duty of care.
Yes.
There's an abdication of the duty of care. There's an injury suffered as a there's an injury that was suffered. There was an injury suffered as a result of that breach. So what we should not be discussing, and people have said people should be punished. No, that's not the case. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, A bus was going in Egypt, right? And the students went on study visa, whatsoever, came down from the bus with their minders, and a flood came and unfortunately took out all the children, and the children died, unfortunately, in India. I'm not talking about developed countries, I'm not talking about America now. You know what happened? Next day, the Minister for Education resigned. After I resigned, the Minister for Transport resigned. Why? They said, these are students, I'm the Minister for Education. The guy said, they are in a bus, I'm the Minister for Transport. They resigned. That's the first step. So this idea of, oh, should they be punished? They should not even be talking.
Yeah.
They should force be resigned immediately.
For me, it's not the lack of process, it's the will to do the needful. And it's us. So let's see, yes, the governor has said, but within the civil service, of course, you have a level of people. The corruption in that level is there, and whenever it comes to election, we always lose that willpower because we become unpopular. That's why we risk these things happen. It's us, Nigerians, first. How do we as a people change our ways so that, our lives get better? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that God will not change the condition of the people until they change their ways. The way we do things, the way we allow things happen. Yes. I think it's a responsibility to condone and risk our people.
I hear that, but I think he struck a chord.
He's very correct. I'm not disagreeing.
Civil servants.
Yeah.
Now, we don't punish civil service, obviously, because the governors feel like
they're my people.
They're my people, not my people. The fact that if you do that, they can actually get rid of you. They are the ones, they're the voters. They're the ones that actually keep you in office.
Which is why.
So a lot of governors or leaders are always very reluctant in be playing the hard one on civil servants. Let's talk about jumping here.
Because I've been... Thank you. You've said a lot on my mind, but I feel that a society relies on consequences. The reason I wouldn't come here and tear up this building because I just feel there's something touching in my brain is because I realize there's a consequence to that action. When everybody in civil service knows that not doing my job, there's a consequence to it that might cost me my job, everybody will sit up. If there is no consequence in society, everybody will go haywire. And that is the problem we have now. I agree with you that the process is cumbersome. We took a paper and they said that 600 people were supposed to are unregistered when it comes to being a flight travel booking agency. Yeah, and my question was, if you have 600 people and only 400 have not registered, it means your process needs to be checked. Yeah. If it is taking over 3-4 years to get registered, if you need to start bribing and passing brown envelope, and we must not deny the fact that if you want to speed up your process in Lagos State, you have to pass brown envelopes. There was a time it reduced because we were under a governor that said that it was almost seen as a thing of shame if you do it. If you are caught doing it. So it rise and fall on leadership. This is against dealing with what Nima said, that is the people. And the leader determines the people.
And I like the way Nima puts it. Are we not
government?
No,
are we not government?
By the time the governor tells you don't have a choice, the government is determining
where is your humanity. Where is your humanity when you watch what happened, the loss of lives, the bloodshed, and you have at one point or the other in your life just contributed at least.
How did government come to be? We were before there was government. It was because of the fact that we felt that we needed a system of governance that led to government. So it's expected of us for us to misbehave. That's why we have government. And you said the Quran said that we need to change. No. What God does when he wants to change any system, since you talked about the Quran, is to bring a leader. What the leader does is to then transform the people. That's the basis of every system that has changed. You want to go to Singapore. Singaporeans didn't change. It was the people that saw Lee Kuan Yew and changed. One want to talk about this is Lagos, Southwest Nigeria. The Yorubas did not change. It was Awolowo that made education free and people went to school. Exactly. Bribery did not happen. We were not taking bribes. It was leaders that showed us you could take bribes.
Yeah, they brought the bags.
Leaders. One of the most unfortunate things we do in Nigeria is that we have leaders who complain.
Oh, gosh.
How does a FIFA president go to a football pitch or a referee and start complaining? You have a red card. It's not a garment to wrap around yourself. So the point I'm making is that the people got to be responsible. Right. But it is expected that people will not be responsible. That's why there's what is called law enforcement. There's no reason to call law enforcement if the law will not be broken. So if you spend a lot of time, and you want to change how many people in Lagos, 20, 30 million, I don't know. But if we get government right, now, should those guys are built...
let's go on a break.
Okay,
we'll come back, we'll continue this conversation with Prof. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, Mariam's waiting for a question. Go ahead.
Yes. So yesterday we talked to government, but I think that we have to also talk to our people. You are an estate developer, and we know that we have structures that have been put up that are substandard. And a person that does that is a human being. And now people have lost their lives. How do you now come here and then try to blame the government when really the blame lies with you? Why is profit so more important than the lives of people eventually? We still use, for major constructions, we still use foreign construction companies, yeah. Kappa and Alberto, because they've proven over the years that you can trust them with quality and good standard. But here in Nigeria, there's no one that you can trust, because today you raise a good building, tomorrow you don't, and people are losing their lives.
Yeah, let me ask you quickly. Can you be magnanimous to share in the blame when you give government?
Yeah.
Can you, at
Since
least?
I came here, I have not used the word blame. I have not blamed government. I only explain the context. Crime is a reasoned response, right? People don't commit crime. They respond, and the response is a crime. I've described the ecosystem that makes people to behave there. Right. I have not endorsed the behavior. I have not encouraged them. I'm only saying stop focusing on the event. Think about the ecosystem. So why will a developer build a house? I have said, by law, there is a government department that is supposed to prevent the building happening in the first place.
Let me pause you for a second. I have with us on the phone right now, Acting General Manager, Lagos State Building Control, Engineer Lekon. Are you there, sir?
Good morning, I'm here.
Thanks for calling. You called into the show. Go ahead. You are going to contribute to the show concerning the process to the point of demolition.
His department is very, very important in this.
We've been trying to get you.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you live. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Let us first clear the air. Not every distress situation leads to demolition.
Okay.
It is not in government habit to want to reduce the housing stock in Lagos State. Rather, we want to increase the housing stock. We have a big gap in terms of the housing needs of the people. So government is trying to work with every homeowner to salvage and sustain every building. So what we're doing is not just going out there to remove distress structures. There are different levels and degrees of distress or instability in the structure. This has to be, first of all, determined. There is no magic in saying physically this house is distressed. It has to be removed. It's not that automatic. You can see a distressed building, yes, there are cracks all over the place, but the structural member needs to be verified as being totally non-salvageable. Before I can say, okay, this house is beyond redemption, let's bring it down.
Sir, point taken. Hold on for a second. Yes.
Your agency is very, very important to how buildings eventually come up in Lagos. So we talk about approvals and who sees to the quality of buildings and whether or not they should even exist in the first place. So how culpable are your staff in, this kind of situations when they eventually happen for failing to do the needful?
Now, failing to do the needful is a big question mark. Because what we do is to identify to the homeowner that your building is distressed. We serve a notice that, okay, Mr. Owner, please check the integrity of this building.
Okay. Before it was built.
To check the integrity to save his investment. Give him ample time. If the building happens to be occupied and the man is not responsive, we serve equipment on all the occupants to move out of the building. Now, from our physical inspection, this building needs to be inspected to be proven stable. Please evacuate the building to save your lives.
Okay.
After this, we serve a seal-up notice. That seal-up notice means it is illegal and criminal for anybody to have access to that location. Then we mark the X.
So the X is the last phase.
Yes.
It's under investigation.
All right. Let me jump in.
You understand? Hello?
One second, yes.
So quickly now.
Thank you.
In this
After the X has been put,
in this particular, can you hear us? In this particular case, obviously you've given all the warnings. And then it took, what we hear is from 2014 till, till this incident happened. So who is to blame right now? Because you have you've given all the warnings, you've sent out all the warnings.
2014.
Yes.
How is 2014 coming to that? I didn't get 2014.
2 years ago.
You're just telling me now.
2017.
So 2017. So it takes
2014.
Sorry, it takes 2 years. They said 2017. So it's taken 2 years until finally this incident happened. So in the 2 years now, there's been a bridge. Who is to blame here now? Where do we go? The people are now saying...
I want us to avoid passing the blame game here. Okay. It's not a blame game.
Somebody should take responsibility.
Okay,
no,
take responsibility.
Can I finish, please?
Yes, please.
Can I finish?
Yes.
Thank you. I was trying to tell you the process we go through. When a building is has been distressed, you need to check the structural integrity of the building. I told you when the landlord or the owner refuses to give us this structural integrity report, we serve a quick notice on all the occupants. Very explicit. Please evacuate this building. It's dangerous to your life.
And if they don't...
You understand? You're not supposed to be living there. After the quick notice, we now serve a seal-up notice that this building is under seal. And we now mark it with an X that it is under seal. That makes it a criminal offense for anybody to access the building. We need to look at the fact that, I said earlier, we need to protect the housing stock in the state. We don't have enough houses to grant everybody. So we need to be very careful not to remove people's houses and now start having litigations on our hands.
Right.
So how did you prove?
All right. Point taken, Engineer Lekon. Thank you very much, sir. So, in what he has just said, what are your thoughts? What do you agree with him?
Did he answer our questions?
I don't know what to say. I'm a citizen. I pay my tax in Lagos. Lagosians have died.
And we should not blame anybody. I don't
understand how anybody will be explaining to me the process. What is the purpose of the process to the dead bodies that we have?
Exactly.
The point I made, and I've made since morning, is that we have created a situation that is not right. The fact that we are marking buildings is already a failure. The buildings were not supposed to come up in the first place. So what do we do going forward? That's the whole purpose of this conversation. Change that process that makes people build without building approval.
I also believe that
Number two, maybe I should also mention, number two, when a building is marked, again, don't forget, citizen's involvement is part of what makes democracy different. If I go to buy a drug today in Nigeria, from a smartphone, I can send a short code to confirm whether that is authentic. Yes. Why can't anybody who wants to rent a house in Lagos send a short code to this agency to check whether that building has approval? Why not?
I asked three people from Lagos State. I asked the Honorable yesterday, Olulade. We had 2 phone calls yesterday, 1 phone call today, and nobody is saying this is the person responsible, these are the people responsible, this is how we will prevent it from happening until you take responsibility.
What we've done so far, from our conversation, understanding where the problems lies, right? Understanding what caused it in the first place. Yeah. Government on our part also is not taking full. They're not saying, listen, this is the person that's going to pay for these damages that happen. They're government. They're not going to...
We are government.
Sorry?
Oh, we are government. We are government. We brought ourselves here with our insensitivity and inhumanity. We will cut standards and say, at least I won't live there. And build better houses for ourselves.
But I think we've been able to identify the problem, and also we hopefully, Lagos State or whichever government is in charge can always ensure that they take responsibility in cases, because people want to see that justice was served. Yes, exactly. So imagine if we had somebody come and say, XYZ has been sacked, XYZ have been suspended, XYZ has been put up.
I don't want anyone to lose their job.
Yes, but at least something has happened, so we know that the government is working.
Please, could I just say something?
Yes.
I mean, so there was an unfortunate incident last Friday in New Zealand. Somebody came and shot people. Very unfortunate, bad behavior, should be condemned. Between Friday and today, the Prime Minister of New Zealand has done over 4 press conferences addressing everybody in the world what should be done about it. What is the next step? She has initiated process by Monday on how to reform gun control in our country. One of the things that we should also accept and tell Lagos State to do is that we need to own this. You will never change a process you don't own. You can't be saying don't blame, don't blame, don't blame. You are not owning it. Take ownership, review the process. By today, we should have a new bill in Lagos House of Assembly, changing this process and making things well.
That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back,
Thank you.
We have a geneticist. Join with us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. Today's Tuesday, so we have to throw in some medical angle to this.
Yes,
How often do we take genetic testing? Do we even understand the importance and how it affects every sphere of our lives? Joining us on the show is a genetic expert, Gatumi Aliyu. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hello, Mariah. Thank you for having me.
You can call us on 070-806-68014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. All right, when I read about genetics testing, I thought to myself, we actually don't have shelter, we don't have water, we don't have food.
Houses are breaking down.
There are issues in Nigeria. I really don't want to add complicate to that matter by knowing my genetic makeup, my DNA, to now know if I'm susceptible to certain diseases. I'm not interested. If it comes, it comes. If it goes, it goes. I don't care. I mean, I'm sure you get kind of responses a lot.
Absolutely.
So what do you say to people that say that?
So thank you for bringing that up, because if you didn't, other people would have brought it up. So I might as well answer it now. The way we think about it is there are a lot of problems, and one of the problems with Nigeria is that sometimes we wait for the problem to happen, and then everybody starts shouting, what was there, what could have been done, and with genetics we look at it as preventative medicine. So before you, and I'm going to go a bit extreme here, before you start seeing the signs of diabetes, of cancer, can you find out if you're at risk for having it, and so you can treat it? Because we don't want to get to the end where you now have these diseases, you're paying millions. I mean, do you know how much it costs?
Prevention is better than cure, Jerry, my brother.
In fact. And so with this, with genetic testing, through saliva, so that's one, not even blood, no needles, people that don't like being poked, you can find out if you're at risk for cancers, diabetes, hypertension, and so many other diseases before they come. And then you can take steps to prevent them.
So in Nigeria, they are going to say, Claire, this is a rich man's problem.
Okay.
Because as she mentioned, we don't have, all the basic, and we're looking at our DNA. But I've heard stories of Hollywood stars who have found out that they are susceptible for cancer and diabetes. And then they went ahead, in the case of Angelina Jolie, took out her womb.
Her breast. Her breast.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, she took out her breast.
Yes.
And I don't know how many young women you're going to tell that, you're susceptible to cancer, and then take out your breast, maybe before you even start having kids. How is that a prevention? It's more like an
extra measure.
Yes, you're putting even more problems on my problem.
Okay, great question. So one of the things, especially with Angelina Jolie's scenario, by the way, it's called the BRCA gene, BRCA, that causes breast cancer. Up till today, experts debate it. It's being debated in medical schools, in law schools. When I was in medical school, it was debated. Should she have taken out both of her breasts? And what happened was they found out that she had the genes, the two genes, BRCA1 and 2, and she had about an 86% chance of having breast cancer in her lifetime. And so what genetic testing does for you, it gives you that information and gives you and helps you make a choice. So number one, you have an 86% chance of having breast cancer, which, as you know, has a lot of complications, which some of it is death. Do you take out your breasts? Do you adjust your lifestyle? Do you do chemo or radiotherapy? So there are things that you can do before you take that step.
Hello, my name is Dotun.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I was on the show to talk about muscular dystrophy earlier this year.
Oh, Dotun.
Yeah, Dr. Dotun.
Dotun.
Yeah.
So
go ahead,
go on.
Because it detects rare diseases like muscular dystrophy, different kinds of rare diseases. So it's very important for you to do the genetic test before you get married or wherever it is.
Yes, conditions.
He said, can you use this to test if somebody has multiple dystrophy, which is what he was here for, Dotun Tejosho.
So he has a condition
before
where
marriage,
his muscles
a condition he later found out.
Okay, so I think it's called DMD. There are two types of muscular dystrophy.
Yeah, so he found that later in his lifetime.
That he had Duchenne's. He had Duchenne's muscular dystrophy. So, so with genetic testing, yes, absolutely. In fact, DMD, there's I just don't remember the exact gene, but there's a gene in which you carry it. there are two types of, you can be a carrier of something where you have one genotype for it, or you can have the disease where you have both. With genetic testing, you can absolutely check for that.
All right, let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll take more phone calls and tweets. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So let's take some tweets.
Onyida Mola Bamgbade says, genetic testing is good, but how affordable is it in Nigeria? He said, so what's the purpose of testing a fetus for Down syndrome or autism? To remove it? Let's be careful, please.
Yeah, so based on that tweet, I've heard the term designer babies before, where a mother can decide the sort of baby that she wants because she's tested the kind of eyes, the hair. You know, there's a danger that it can move from testing for diseases to testing for if it will be intelligent and beautiful and, you know. So that's a fear.
So I'll answer that quickly and then some other tweets. So it's something that could be done, right? However, we don't do that. And this is where our ethics come in. Now, with any new development, any new technology, for example, a cell phone, right, or the internet, the internet offers you so many good things, but so many bad things as well. So do you then want to throw all the good things it has, you know, it offers because of some of the bad things? So for us, we focus on the health, on the nutrition, on saving lives, and then for the other things like designer babies, we don't do that in Nigeria.
But I know somebody in the UK, actually a family friend, who her child had a 72% chance of having Down syndrome, and she got rid of the baby.
The fetus.
Of the fetus.
Right, so just like the tweet. So what we do is, yes, we can offer tests, yes, but then we believe that knowledge is power. Know what you're getting into
going to deal with,
so that you can make the necessary steps. For some people, that means not having the baby. For other people, that means getting the right doctors, the right care for the child, and maybe the right funding. At least you know that before you have the child.
You are dodging the question of cost.
Oh, no, I'm not. No. So, yes, a lot of people say that genetic testing is expensive, and it is normally. So, for example, prior to us, in order to sequence BRCA1 and 2, like Angelina Jolie did, cost about 200,000.
What?
Now, we have 200,000 naira.
Okay.
But we have been able to bring that price down to not just breast cancer. So, our health test gets you breast cancer, ovarian cancer, hypertension, diabetes, for 10,000 naira.
Okay.
I want to do.
That's good.
Okay, you're not here for publicity, so we won't tell them the name or where you can. What you're telling us is that you have a kit that people can actually buy to get this genetic testing and then know if they are predisposed to these certain diseases.
Right. So the way it works, if you go on our website, can I?
No.
Okay. So if you go on the website, we'll tweet it. You go there and you pick whatever report you want, and when you pick that report, you register. It asks you for a few questions because it has to be able to make it more accurate. And once you pick the report that you want, so like health, nutrition, ancestry, once you pick the one you want, we will send you a kit.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, the payment is just for one of the results?
You can pay for one result, is 10,000, but that gives you a lot of results. So like you do the health, you get
everything that comes out.
Everything.
All right, so we'll probably send it on our own personal pages. But let me take this call. Thanks for calling. Are you there?
Hello.
Hi, Anne. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. First time caller, but I've been watching you ladies for 5 years.
Wow. Welcome to the show.
Yes. You inspire me a lot and I enjoy your show.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a very handsome doctor here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, too.
Well, I want to ask a question.
Okay.
Hello.
I wish you could have a picture. You sound so pretty.
Okay, I want to ask a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can, Anne. You sound great.
I'm in my third trimester of pregnancy now.
Welcome.
And I want to find out, can we still do this genetic testing for my baby? Is it still necessary? And, you know, what should we look out for?
Right.
I know I should look out for Down syndromes and the likes, but it's a bit, scary, knowing just the case and all that. And
right. Thank you very much,
you know
Anne.
how we are in Nigeria. But I just want to know, can I still...
Okay, yes, so Anne, right? Anne, thank you for the compliment. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, you should. We certainly advise that you do genetic testing for your fetus. And like you've rightly said, we test for trisomies. So Down syndrome, Patau syndrome, Edwards syndrome, and things like, so Down syndrome essentially is trisomy 21. Okay. And so we talk about the chromosomes, so the human chromosome there, you know. And so you can have trisomies at 21, 18, 13.
So Edwards syndrome?
And they all look, they're similar, not to get into the technicalities. The baby it's very similar to Down's.
Oh, okay.
You can also test for things like sickle cell anemia, which of course you know. But it's interesting, other than sickle cell anemia, there's about 20 other diseases that your fetus could have. So for example, cystic fibrosis.
Is this where ignorance is bliss? And I know that they say knowledge is power, but ignorance is bliss.
But I have good news. I have good news. I have good news, right? The good news is, one is, these things occur in less than 1% of the population, right?
I don't know.
Two, if you test for, with our test, if you test for sickle cell, it gives you a report for everything. And I know some people say ignorance is bliss, but wouldn't you rather know?
It's costly.
All right. Unfortunately, you have to round up, but before they start using you for prayer points, he's also in a relationship.
Yes.
So, yeah, right? You're
Yes,
in a relationship, so let's not advertise you. Well, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the knowledge. So at least we can get the kit. We'll advertise it on our own pages.
Genetic tests don't come down.
It has.
All right, that's all we can take on the show today. Please don't forget, tomorrow is our live audience show. Please come early so you can get a seat. Have a fabulous day. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.